Hey guys, it's Matt. Every so many months we have to return to first grade. It is beyond overdue and necessary. The amount of bullshit I see, YouTube truth channels, BitChute, all the offshoots, all the pens that keep all the truthers just bitching about the same old stuff and chasing down the same old rabbit holes. Guys, ultimately, what we need to know, I've said it in the past, I'll say it again, it's basically half a page. It's very simple. But the reality itself is the Event Horizon ship. It shows in the Event Horizon, Captain Miller, Lawrence Fishburne says it shows you your worst fear. Well, this reality, it's not just about fear, although it loves that, but it will show every group what most distracts them, so that group is preoccupied outside of itself and never realizing its true nature. So, what does the Event Horizon ship, which is a complete truth drop for the reality itself, show? Conspiracy theorists. It'll show us every conspiracy in the world. So we spend a lot of time trying to chase after it, trying to spend 10 years and say, what's his name? Zachariah Sitchin, was his work legitimate? It loves when you do that because you're not understanding your true nature. It's a half a page, guys. It's not a what do you know? It, get in touch with your inner knowing, and it'll tell you everything I'm about to say is true. Then once you understand this, or you guys at this channel understand this, just remember it and stop chasing all this bullcrap that's coming up on YouTube. What do we have now? We have something comes different every day. We have if you don't rent the movie, you don't get the action Jacksonation, but you're around several people or groups of people that have rented the movie, oh, they're gonna shed some sort of protein on you. You're gonna die. If I didn't get it, but if I'm around, if I go into a group and they got it, they rented the movie, I'm gonna die. Yeah, you're gonna die. I mean, come on. Come on, this endless bullshit in this freaking community. What again, it's a half page. It's a half page. Let's not lose sight of it. Let's not lose sight of it. So let's just do exercises a little bit different way to understand it. People are here at all levels of understanding. And it is amazing to me how a certain type of high level truther gets frustrated with me. You're Matt, you're talking about the same old thing, or you're not progress. Like my whole channel is out to serve people at their level. No, like in any high school, there's ninth graders that come in, they come up. If you're ready to graduate, graduate. So it's like it is amazing to me how much of that I get. Well, Matt, we understand that. You might understand that. What about the ninth graders coming up? No thought, not even a thought for those people. That's maybe my role. Maybe you're a certain level Jedi. You're ready to graduate, but we all need to return to these basics from time to time. We all can pick up the rifle and go. We're gonna go rabbit hunting again. It's because that's what the Event Horizon reality does to us. It knows exactly what to show us, so we can chase it. That brings us outside of ourself. We never realize our true nature. So let's do this exercise. Pick a powerful superhero, a powerful being, a comic book hero, somebody in a movie, Merlin that can manipulate time and space from the Arthurian legend. Just, good, bad, it does. Just pick somebody. Pick somebody. Okay. That's who you are, the Green Lantern. That's who you are, the Green Lantern. So it's the half page explanation of what the entire reality is out to do is it's out to make sure the Green Lantern never knows he has any power. That's its first goal. It does this by presenting an entire reality that's a deception, a trick, a manipulation. Anybody new here going, everything? Yeah, every damn thing is a trick. On the telephone? Yeah, everything. Everything is a trick, deception, manipulation if it comes from what we call the screen. If it comes through the minions, if it comes through the systems they've built, called society, culture, governments, if it comes from there, It's a trick to get you. You're sitting there in your Green Lantern outfit. You got your big green ring, but you know what the F it's for. I got this big ass green ring here. Well, you don't realize you can just beam the ring, make some gigantic, thing to fight crime. This, Green Lantern can make a giant hammer. Don't step on the keyboard, puss puss, and cut me off. Thank you. Make a giant. It can do whatever it wants with the green ring. So we're sitting here dressed all in green. That's completely normal because the fashionistas tell us that this is what's cool. You're looking like a big dork all dressed in green, and he's got the mask, but he's got this big green ring. He doesn't know what it's for. He doesn't have any clue. That's the human being in this reality. No idea the power of what he can do in this example, he or she, and the ring. So it wants you to go your whole life without realizing your power, but it's not just satisfied with that, although that is its first goal, aim, or priority. Hi, Puss Puss. Puss and Boots. Its secondary goal is to get you to feed it. I'm so sorry, Puss Puss. She's a big husky cat. She can take it. To feed it energetically. So what does well, of course, it wants your tax dollars, it wants your labors, it wants all of the things that the society sucks out of you, but that's just the first grade, first level stuff. It wants frequency and energy from you that it literally will feed on in some way in the ether. There's no other explanation for its constant attempt to put a group of human beings, a population, into a constant state of fear. Don't step on that keyboard. Fear, anxiety, worry, stress, pressure. The entire society is set up so people are in a constant state of fight or flight, fear, worry, anxiety, stress, etc. Been over this many times. Almost everything that eventually ends up biting you or causing stress by the year 2020 or 2021, with the technology that exists, with good people just working to make things better, all of this stuff, probably 80%, could be eliminated. 80% of whatever you call stress, worry, anxiety in your life should be eliminated by now. If anybody at the root level here was actually trying to do good and to actually improve society, make things better for their fellow man, it's positioned that way, but it's always the opposite. It's always set up so an additional helping of mashed potato fear will go on people's plate. It's always positioned as, oh, it's wonderful technology. Email came in the early 90s. Oh, it's going to make business so much more efficient and so great for everybody. All it did was heap 5 helpings of stress mashed potatoes onto people because they could never get away from work. They're doing emails at night. They're doing emails on a Sunday while they're taking the family on vacation. So, but they can do away with the things in the world and the society that create the fear, stress. But those are the things they'll never do away with. Those things they'll just heap more stress mashed potatoes on your plate, more things that can get you, more disease, more archaic rules and regulations and code and things you have to adhere to. In all the areas where it can help, it never does. But people just think this is the best a modern society can do. They don't. They just look at it and think it's completely normal. But it creates the society that exists where nothing that it could really make your life better never fixes itself. So people are in a constant state of fear, worry, anxiety, stress, etc. And there's no other explanation for this. In some way, energetically, I don't know how it happens. It must feed from it. So step one is it never wants you to understand the powerful being that you are. And it does that primarily by making sure you're always focused on something outside of yourself. The Event Horizon ship will show a conspiracy theorist the latest conspiracy that somehow this matrix reality will auto-generate somehow. Does anybody think that at some point conspiracies are just going to end? Does anybody think that? Or will there always be one more thing? Or even if it's in this category or in this bucket, there'll be an offshoot or something else will come up. Does anybody think that's going to stop? Me neither. No? Well, there's no real world that could pull that off. If you just get a sense that, and this relates back to what I said, it was right after the Kobe beef incident about, I guess, what is that now, about 15 months ago. I guess, yeah, 15, 16 months ago. I made a video where I said, because when we looked into the event, of course, it was riddled with conspiracy. This didn't add up, that didn't add up, another inflated tire. And I made a video and I said, do you think there'll ever be a major news event that will ever come up ever again in this life, in this reality, that won't be riddled with conspiracy? It'll just be the conspiracy. I almost was saying it almost has to be attached to the news event. One cannot exist, at least the way the reality is now, without the other. And I asked you, do you think there will be something that comes that's big that won't have the conspiracy? And almost everyone was like, no, for some reason the conspiracy has to go along for the ride. Absolutely, of course. No, that just, see, that gives, it's a giveaway right there. The world isn't real. No real world could constantly attach the conspiracy, all set up, all pretty lined up for us to chase. It's always, here's the big news event, and then there's this group over here that are closer to understanding the true nature of what's going on here, closer to understanding the true nature of themselves. So it's always going to have this passenger on board called conspiracy for us to chase. No real world could pull that off. Do you understand that? Now, we've seen now 10,000 impossible coincidences, 10,000 impossible circumstances. The Kennedy to Lincoln synchronicities by themselves is a 1 in about a 200 billion chance. I don't typically ascribe to 1 in 200 billion chance possibilities. The world isn't real. No real world could pull this off. This is when I hear truth channels, again, you've heard me say this, what, 1,000 times now, reverting back to it must just be men and women making phone calls. I mean, I'm not even going to say it anymore. It's so impossible that even 1/100th of this stuff could be coordinated by what you call regular people working together in backroom meetings. It's an absolute joke. Step one, the entire reality, the entire world is a deception. All of it? Yeah, all of it. Step two, no real world could pull that off. Couldn't happen. Which means by any first grade deductive reasoning, or it would be inductive, I don't know, but it's the same, we arrive at the same damn place, that no real world could pull this off, so the world ain't real. It ain't very real. Or it's not real at all. And then, well, wait a second, what is that step three? What does that tell me about myself and how powerful I truly am? Oh, it doesn't want you to ever go there. That's why it always throw another conspiracy at you. What do we have now with this thing? We have end times. We have end of world prophecies. If you get close to a group of people that have rented the movie Action Jackson, then it's going to throw some deadly protein. You gonna die. You know, there's that. We chase this. Run over, chase that. Give me up. Stop it. Just stop. Stop. If you're ready to graduate, graduate. You know, I don't want to lose you. But this stuff, it's so simple. It's so simple. You know, again, you're that powerful being you picked. I picked the Green Lantern. It doesn't want me to ever figure out that this ring can do something. The only way to figure out that, now in this case it's the power in a ring, but the innate power of us, and I'm not talking superhero powers, an understanding of who we are, the immortal nature of ourselves. Once you that being that should exist wants no part of rooting to this place, of attaching to it, of looking to what the society can give me in terms of its awards and its applause. You know, once you understand that aspect of yourself, and it still exists in us, we still have work to do, and it still exists in you watching this. It might not exist in your best friend. Have people given too much of themselves away? Maybe. It might not exist in the guy down the cul-de-sac or in Aunt Ginny. As I've said, I'm going less and less, further and further away from the NPC description, more to that people have given so much of themselves away and have worked so hard to root to the society in this place that they've signed up, they've become almost NPCs. They've signed up to be an NPC. You know, they've attended the multi-level marketing meeting. And but anybody like to sign up to be our first test subjects, to be NPCs? And everybody, I'd like to be an NPC. What do I need to do? Well, You need to choose on your own to completely detach from your spiritual self and get to a point where you don't even recognize that even exists anymore. And then you need to find your entire meaning and fulfillment through what society can give you. Oh, I sign up for that. The people have given themselves away. So it's so simple, guys. Excuse me. You know what's happening here. I think somebody actually believed that I still wasn't able to coordinate a nose hair appointment with a nose hair specialist based on what I said 2 videos back. I was just kidding. I don't have a nose hair appointment or a specialist that takes care of that. Although I do shave my own head, saved me a lot of money over the last 5 years. Um, Guys, it's so simple. It's so simple, and it doesn't want you to know who you really are, and then it will dangle carrots so you go outside yourself. One way, and there's a lot of, see, even when a lot of the truth community, and I'm not talking about anybody specifically, a lot of the people doing these sort of things are incredibly good people. I think they're people I like. They're trying to do the very best that they can. But when you watch truth channels regarding the thing that's going on now, they'll talk about um, lawsuits or bringing, I don't know, this is not my area, court injunctions or motions, or like it relates back to the Q thing. Remember the Q thing with the sealed indictments, and Hillary's going to go to jail? Well, there's the same talk about bringing, what's going on now, crimes against humanity. So there's motions in the courts to go after certain politicians or leaders, and I just shake my head at this. Have we learned nothing? I mean, have we learned nothing? Um, you cannot to fight back. All right, this does relate to worry about yourself. Worry about yourself, and it's worry about yourself is not selfish. All right, you cannot fight back, quote end quote, fight back by going into their systems to ask for or beg for remedy against what they're doing to us from their systems. See, going into their courts. So, who created the court? The sick system that basically created this entire deceptive reality that's here to screw over a human being and keep a human being from what it really should understand about itself. So they created the society, the governments, the systems, the politics, the prisons, the courts, but you want to go into that system to seek remedy. What? What? I think it's like being beaten up by the Hell's Angels. Like you opened your car door and it knocked into the fender and they came out, and it's like, when Anthony Michael Hall and those 2 kids sat down at the card table. It's in 16 Candles, and the card castle fell, and they're like, so here you get beaten up by the Hell's Angels, and like, well, what are you going to do? Well, they beat the crap out of me for putting a little nick in the fender of the motorcycle. I hear the Hell's Angels has a meeting, a chapter meeting, every Monday night. I'm going to seek remedy. I'm going to go in to the chapter meeting and seek remedy with the Hell's Angels. See, it doesn't work. You can't seek remedy. This relates back to when people, again, these are no mention of no names. These are great people I like, people I'd like to have a beer with, people that want the best for all of us. But it relates back to the whole Gemstone University stuff, and petitioning for your sovereignty. And I don't know, some people might do this for a true sovereign citizen standpoint, but others too, so they don't have to pay certain taxes. Separating from the legal fiction, separating from the straw man. See, the reason that doesn't interest me in any way, guys, is it's like the same thing as the example I just outlined. It's using legal maneuverings. Well, are you legally maneuvering kind of on your own, and are you using their systems? Are you petitioning their government? You're waiting for a reply from them. You're seeking some sort of legal remedy that they'll stamp. So even if they send you the paperwork you need so you don't have to pay a certain tax, or you just got out of 20 years of parking tickets, or whatever it may be, or their court system has no jurisdiction over you. It's still, in terms of ultimately understanding the power to understand what you need to understand about yourself, it's a metaphysical transformation. You're still waiting for something that's they stamped to come back. It might be a win, but inside their game. You're still inside their octagon. You're still inside their arena. Okay, maybe you get out of it. You don't have to pay this tax or whatever, but what is that? Okay, that's a win for your ability to navigate this material world. I think most of us want to spiritually separate. Spiritually, that's all that matters over the next trillions and trillions of years, all that ever was and will be after this existence, because we're immortal beings. I don't care to navigate this place any better. I want to withdraw from it. So, this is where completely understand what these folks are doing, much more than somebody that would think they could bring a lawsuit against Boris Johnson or something go into their court systems over these crimes against humanity. That just doesn't make any sense. You're like, well, that's something that's first grade truth, knowing that just can't happen. Their own systems aren't going to punish their own. Anyway, we've been over that a million times. But still, you understand why I link them together. It's still petitioning master. I don't want to petition master to be able to navigate. Well, Matt, don't you understand? If you don't completely separate from your straw man and your legal fiction, then they have more claws in you at the moment of your death. I don't believe that. It's what you believe. It's all what you completely manifest for yourself. If you believe that I need to do all this legal maneuvering and legal wrangling, send letters to the Secretary of State of the state of this and all this stuff coming, I'm waiting for this to come back, and then I've got to get it notarized, and it's going to go over here. If you think you need all that to where it somehow has some kind of metaphysical hold on you, potentially going into your death, because you have to separate from the straw man. And I know people are like, Dave, don't put words in our mouth. You don't understand this issue enough. I hear you. Not everybody that does that thinks that it's related, that you need to separate from legal fiction or straw man per, the essence of your soul or spirit at death. Okay, it's not. Of course, not everybody is going to go there, and maybe I shouldn't have hinted at that. But it just once you understand certain things about yourself, okay, then that's all that matters. I don't need to do any of that stuff going into their system. So you see what I'm saying? And I guess it's just, I'm not going to be any more clear than I've already been. So I might as well get off the topic. But it's just really simple, guys. In terms of, we still have the police lineup stuff going on in the truth community. All it is just one more distraction to pull you outside yourself. Say, who's the real bad guy? Bring in the same old police lineup. Who's really doing it to us? Is it, was it Professor Winkle Dingleberry in the study with the candlestick? Is it the Archons, the Anunnakis, the secret societies, the ancient bloodlines, the interdimensional aliens, the reptilians? It's the fact that this same police lineup exists, and it always exists. It's just like what's presented to us in the Debbie Does Dallas event with JFK. It's always the same cast of characters. It's the Cubans did it. No, the Fed did it because Kennedy wanted to get out of, he wanted to audit them. Oh no, it's the military-industrial complex did it to him because he was going to get out of Vietnam. No, it's the mob that did it because of what Bobby Kennedy was doing to the mobsters. Because it's the same, in their case, the same police lineup of who done it, and decade after decade goes by, and they keep presenting the same lineup of who done it, the same cast of characters, then anybody operating at any first grade level can say, "Oh, I love you too." Say nobody done it then, because if one of them did it, remember that was it to tell the truth? These people, three of these people were like, well, one was the real guy or whatever, or girl from the show, but the other two were lying, and they wanted whoever was involved in the game show. This goes back to the late 70s, I think, to think. I think number three is the real person that did this or that, or the real, they're all, the other two are lying, and they're trying to be so convincing in their lie that whoever's involved in this game show will pick the wrong one. Hi Zara, how you doing? How you doing? To tell the truth. So in the case of it's the same cast of characters with the Debbie Does Dallas event. If anything were real, well, one would emerge as the real culprit. It wouldn't be the same. Hey, wouldn't be the same cast of characters. Constant little skirmishes. Is this the stress of the reality dumping itself onto me through cats? It wouldn't be the same cast of characters for the Debbie Does Dallas event. One would emerge as the likely, because it's the reality itself gives itself away. It's the same cast of characters. Same cast of characters in the police lineup of who's screwing over humanity. Nobody ever gets close to narrowing in, or one rises up about the other. So the reality itself is given away as it's not real. It's not real. No reality could pull this off. Constant conspiracy, constant ridiculous circumstances. The people around us just never catch on to it. I mean, how much do we need to see? I don't, the architecture. I don't take that out of the mix in terms of I just what I present the building. What was it? I forget. It was at the university building I talked about recently in New York, Troy University building in New York. I found another one I'm going to cover. It's incredible. I'm going to have fun with this. Try to get a few laughs from this building. I'm going to cover another one in a week or so. But I cover it. It's fascinating. But don't think, if you come to the conclusion that the entire reality is a deception, why would that be any different? Just because it's that structure's heavy and bricks are heavy. See, I think it's more along the line of, say, the thinking of the wise man or woman would step back and look at the entire reality and say the entire reality is a deception and a trick in order to hide somebody from their true nature and to get most people to do what it wants, or to give it the energy or frequency that it wants. And most people would, in terms of our history, science, where did we come from, the Big Bang, Darwin, another little fight going on. Most people watching this would be like, yeah, the entire reality is a deception. I mean, we agree at this point. Excuse me. Zara, leave her alone. But with how did they build the Cologne Cathedral, who built the pyramids, some of the architecture. So the entire reality is a deception, but that's real. That's in the reality. I'm going to say that's just going to go along for the ride. It's all a trick, a deception. It's all some sort of a matrix. It's all an impossible set of circumstances that no normal reality could pull this stuff off over and over again, decade after decade, where people fall for it. So I don't really see if it's the one thing inside a massive deception that must be real, Matt, because you can go out to the Cologne Cathedral and touch it, and it's heavy and hard. So see, that's real. No, if I've come to the conclusion that the whole reality is some sort of impossible matrix that just keeps pulling up new conspiracy for us to chase, just delivering conspiracy like the Event Horizon ship over and over and over, that issue is inside the reality, so it's not getting a pass. I'm not going to say that part's real and everything else is fake. No, it's inside what I consider to be fake, so it's fake as well. We'll explain that. Who built the Cologne Cathedral? I don't know. I can't. But that's the whole point. It wants me spending years trying to figure it out. What does that do when I spend years trying to figure it out? It pulls me outside of myself. I'm spending time understanding my true nature, understanding that I'm that powerful being or superhero that I picked, understanding that this ring and I'm the Green Lantern, and understanding stuff. If I spend all my time on this, then from the reality's perspective, it's no different than me spending all of my time chasing the red carpet. What's the difference? Both things, if your focus is there, that's what the reality wants. It's very simple. It's first grade. Every time your focus is who's screwing us, who's screwing us over here, and then your focus is there. Who's doing it to us over here? How'd they get away with this? Who really did the Debbie Does Dallas event? Focus is here. That's what it wants. It's first grade. It doesn't want you understanding your true nature. If you can use that to understand your true nature, or whenever. That's why I try to incorporate the 3 steps. Just spending time on the screen on step 1, understanding that it's just one more thing you can add to the long list of deception, and everything is a deception at this point. If you can then jump to step 2 and be like, no real world could pull all this stuff off, endless conspiracy, decade after decade, nobody ever gets caught, truth community never gets a win. Well, some weird fake realities going on here. Its complete basis is deception. Well, that's not real. No real world could do that. Well, what does that tell me about myself? And what does this group want from me? Oh, I see that they want to energetically feed on me through creating stress, worry, anxiety. If something is feeding from me, if I'm not in the right frame of mind, or putting out the right frequency or resonance, then if something's feeding on me energetically, I must be pretty damn powerful. No, not an NPC. So you can use it to tell you important things about yourself. So sometimes the screen exercise is not completely a waste of time, if you see what I'm saying. If you employ the 3 steps. So guys, I guess that's about it. It's just, I just look at some of these videos, and I just shake my head. End of world predictions, but see, that's what they do. I've said it before, they're trying to create some sort of mini tribulation inside the eclipses, 7 years between eclipses, all that's happening now. But they need us. They need us, just like that episode of Interface. I kept saying, I apologize, I kept calling him Hemrick when it's clearly Henry or Henrik. But sometimes you just get talking, and it's not a word or a name that I'm very familiar with. It's not very common, or completely uncommon in the United States. So I apologize if that messed with anybody, me constantly calling him Hemrick. But the minion in episode 23 of Interface says, basically says, we need you. We need you. We can't do this alone. And it can't. It can't. Whatever it wants, whatever the other incarnation is that's here, that according to very, very smart people that I trust and believe, and it resonates with my inner knowing, they're big fish in a small pond. In this snow globe, they're very powerful. But this is nothing. This incarnation, on the grand scheme of things, you are much, much higher up the ladder. It's not even close to these minions that run around here trying to control their business interests and their Hollywood, and they're jokes, absolute jokes. I'm talking about a big fish in a small pond. I mean, it's like a giant carp from the Schuylkill River, shoving it in a bucket, a Home Depot bucket. That's I guess if that Home Depot bucket's so all important to you, then that fish looks pretty impressive in there. It starts to stink, but all you got to do is take a couple steps back from the bucket. That's just some fish in a bucket, and it's in the hot sun. It's gonna be stinking up soon. Or just go ahead. You can do it yourself. You don't have to go into your astral body or all that. If you can't do that, whatever. I can't do that either. Just imagine, just zoom back from the snow globe. You can go back a million miles, assuming, just assume Carl Sagan's right, and we can actually do that. And you just see it from afar. This little existence, little incarnation called something called Earth, and an aspect of you is there, and it's a joke. It's in and out of the closet in a half a second. And why would anybody give it what it wants? It clearly wants something from us. Just cut it off. To petition their systems and make sure you're completely spend years and years trying to separate your stuff from your legal fiction or your straw man. I separate myself from my legal fiction and my straw man in 1 second via my intention. Come out of the DMV. I need this thing to drive around, but I'm not this name in all caps. It wants me to believe I'm this. Just from a spiritual or metaphysical standpoint, just separate yourself from it in a second. I'm not this. It wants to do business. It wants me to operate through this. It wants to have power over me through this. I don't give it any. and I remove all power from it. I don't have to petition anybody. I don't have to get anything notarized. It's pretty much that simple. If it didn't work this way, it wouldn't work so hard to get in your business. Oh yeah, I'll do it. It wouldn't work so hard to get in your business. That wasn't very good. It wouldn't work so hard. It works overtime to constant put little puppets and figurines and oh chase this and oh this you put yourself into worry and oh you're in South Carolina, look, the gas lines are building up, oh no, gas lines, oh no, the gas lines, what should I do, honey, should I get in line, we don't want to miss out, want to get, okay, we're in the avatar, all right, we're in the avatar, we have limitations, we always will. Okay, we always will. The idea is to overcome it and to recognize it. We're in the avatar. You're in South Carolina a week ago and gas lines start building up. It is completely natural and normal to be like, oh, I need to get the gas before it runs out. And you say, well, wait a second. Okay, just recognize it. All right. This this is fear. It's producing in me what it wants to feed from. There's an overwhelming chance that whatever the crisis is was cooked up by the system, is completely unnatural, completely fraudulently cooked up. So, am I going to go along with it and give it what it wants or not? If you really need the gas and your daughter's getting married and the state over, well, you might have to get in the gas line, but you have to give it the energy, the fear, frequency. You just get to a point, just like one of my favorite lines from Romeo and Juliet, Mercutio. Here comes Tybalt, and Benvolio is like, "Oh, Tybalt's coming," and I do like the Leonardo DiCaprio remake with the gangs instead of the swords, and he says Tybalt's coming, and Tybalt, Little John. I don't know why they picked John Leguizamo for that, but he's good in it. He's a little badass. He's a little, I don't know. I would have picked another actor, but he's for as limited as he is, he's good. I guess bringing back the character that was kind of a pretty scary character, I guess, from Carlito's Way, and Mercutio. I forget the name of the actor. He's this guy that played the Matrix, the operator of the Nebuchadnezzar in Matrix 2 and 3. He leans back and says, "By my Tybalt's coming, by my heel, I care not." And that is just that's the absolute state we have to put ourselves into. And by understanding who you are, understanding this is a brief little incarnation in a body, nothing's going to happen to your soul or spirit. You will move on. Always were, always will be. Don't put too much stock and importance into this ridiculous. It has become a ridiculous lifetime, even though it's still a lot for us to learn. And you just have that philosophy. Whatever they're going to cook up, by my heel, I care not. And a little fear will come. We're in the avatar. It's a limitation. It always will. We just recognize it. Okay, look what's happening. This is normal. I'm going to overcome it by understanding who I am, and overcome it by understanding this is exactly what this is the reason they cooked up that situation, is to produce this response in me. So it might take a minute or an hour to get rid of it, but you can work on it. I'm not going to watch, if I'm in South Carolina, I'm not going to watch the news like I normally do to see the weather, because they'll show gas lines and, oh, are we ever going to get gas into the state again? And I'm just not going to do, sometimes you just have to turn it off. But over time you'll come up with other techniques to not give it what it wants. And it all stems from just understand when it comes. It's okay. It's okay. And recognize it. The yin and the yang exists as the most famous symbol of all time for a reason. Reality has to show truth. Just has to. And maybe it's there for other reasons, but nevertheless, there's a reason it's the most famous symbol of all time. If they're going to take over here and bite off over here and screw reality and screw mass populations of human beings, then for those that demand to be given something, it also has to give. And that's where everything we've gained in the last 14, 16 months in terms of our understanding, guys, worry about yourself. Worry about yourself is not selfish. It's not selfish. You can only help help the collective conscious, or the populations, by getting yourself into a certain state where you radiate an aura, or an essence of being or frequency that can affect others. Worry about yourself is worry about yourself is not selfish. What's the opposite of that? Go out and try to wake somebody up, which doesn't work. Go try to just put facts on them. I can't tell you how many people I've said, well, how could this be what they say if there's no McD's at all in China? And now we see there's no McD's at all up till now in Taiwan. But now they've turned the dial up on Taiwan, and they have Taiwan racing around, and toilet paper hoarding, and all of that, all by design, all by design. They can turn their dials up. Turn it up on Sweden over here. Okay, Sweden, we're gonna leave that as a test case for the Sentient World simulation. Okay, turn the dial up over here on India. Turn the dials up, turn the dials down. They know what the countries and the populations are going to do before they do, per their Sentient World simulation. They know what people are going to do before people themselves know what they're going to do. So one of the basic life tests or hurdles to overcome is to not be predictable to the Sentient Worlds simulation. Recognize very early on and quickly what it wants, how it wants you to react, what it wants you to feel, what emotion it wants to create in you through that news story, and just don't give it to it. Deny it. Go the other way. Learn to be unpredictable even to yourself. Worry about yourself is not selfish, because that assumes, if you say it's selfish, it assumes that if I go out and go outside myself, that's going to help things. Well, would that ever help things? You're going to go wake someone up? No, that doesn't work. You're going to go petition petition courts to bring certain politicians to justice over what they're doing, and to bring Dr. F to justice, and going to petition their courts, go right into their sick system that they created to benefit themselves. Going outside yourself never works, because everything outside yourself is their turf. It's their playing grounds. You're running out onto their field. There's nothing outside yourself that's yours. It's all theirs. If you go out and play on their field, they'll even make it seem like you're winning. They'll look up the score, look at the scoreboard, I'm up. Whoa. But you're playing their game on their home field, you jerk. You can't win. You can only win is if you're in the game and you look up the score, just say, I'm out of here. I'm not playing this anymore. The truth drop of Vin Diesel and the Triple X. I don't play this in the diner. I don't play this. I don't know who you're dealing with here. I don't play this game. Just walk off the field. Walk off the soccer field. They'll probably, all the rabbits that were running from you, they'll stop, and they'll come up and try to get right at your feet. So you shoot at them right at your feet. And all the players will stop. And why is he walking? The ref will come over to you and say, you can't walk off this field. Well, why the F not? I'm walking off but you're about to win. So that you can never explain to the ref you're winning by walking off. So I'm done. I'm out. Well, I'm going to stop you. You can't. And if you physically stop me, you come, the ref, and it's in the black and the white, come tackle me or something, well, then I've won. If you completely break the rules, then I've won. I'm walking off the field. What are you going to do? What about yourself? You go play your game. So I guess if it was a half a page, guys, I wouldn't have gone 40 minutes, but it is. Entire reality is a joke, a deception. So it hides you from yourself. It wants you to choose its awards, its applause, and then to chase. It will eventorize and morph into what most interests each group. Into our group is conspiracy, because we are closer to understanding the things that are important. So it presents conspiracy that seems on the face of it extremely important. So it's extremely important to go figure it out. All the time it laughs because we're focused out here. It's a half a page. So when you negotiate around YouTube and BitChute and Odyssey and 153 News and all this stuff, I mean, do you will you realize as you're pursuing some of this that most of this stuff is trying to do two things to you: getting you focus on something that's not part of developing your spiritual sense of self and the ties with the true aspect of yourself, and well, to distract you from yourself. And most of these truth videos will ultimately or usually elicit some sort of stress hormone or fear or end of times predictions. And you know, even if you're watching it, you know, this is where the addiction, the fear addiction, that all the 99% of the truth community is to some degree or another fear addicted, addicted like a drug. You can't overcome that. You ain't gonna there. You know, you ain't gonna be able to worry about yourself. You can't get do anything unless you can overcome the fear addiction inside the truth community and say, am I watching this to truly understand something or learn something, or at least follow the screen to eventually learn something about myself? You know, and a lot of the most basic reason to follow the screen to learn about yourself is to see how hard it works. To see how hard it works to get you to constantly get in your business and to get you to do things and to get you to worry about things. In South Carolina event a week ago, and you know, almost no event anymore, just understand, is not, just didn't come across naturally, organically. It's all cooked up. You know, every once in a while, I guess a you can have a Mount St. Helens and some volcano can go up, and I don't think the creeps can coordinate that. But almost everything you see anymore, it's just what reality's evolved into, was in some way cooked up. And what is it? What is it trying to do to you? And you're not going to be perfect. Just recognize it. Just recognize it and work on it. And then it might take a long time, but eventually you'll start to cut it off. It is that simple, and it starts with not chasing the fear around other YouTube channels or BitChute channels and all that other stuff. Thanks for watching, guys.